Jaxon here. I'm trying to find a copy of Mario Kart DS, but I just can't seem to find one anywhere. Okay, just this once. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm in danger for some reason now. Nintendo and DMCA's go together like peanut butter and jelly. They gave us Mario and a patent infringement lawsuit. Now, do I think there's times where Nintendo's justified in suing others? Yes. Is it technically within their legal right to do so? Also yes. But damn it, they are so strict with what people can and can't do with their characters. With one of the characters they crack down on the most being Mario, particularly in the world of fan games and ROM hacks. Today, I wanted to take a look into the world of ROM hacks and talk about one I played pretty recently. Super Mario 64 Star Road. It's a ROM hack of Mario 64, obviously, that was released back in 2011 and aims to be a full-on sequel to that game. It has a brand new story, hub world, and levels. It's generally held in high regard and is a popular ROM hack among the Mario 64 community. Like I said a moment ago, I played and completed it recently and have a decent amount of things to say about it. So let's take a look. I mean, why not? I already pirated a Nintendo game today anyways, I'm probably gonna end up dead in a ditch by tomorrow. The game begins with a quick title screen before we're brought to the save select. Hit one of the save files and we're thrown into the game. Mario falls into the hub world where he's informed by Yoshi that Bowser's doing his typical evil stuff again and that we have to stop him. Jumping into the levels themselves, they're more of what Mario 64 was, big and open areas with multiple objectives to complete. Although it's a little bit more challenging, and by that I mean I use save states a lot. Hey, just because I like video games doesn't mean I'm good at them. The levels take place in a wide variety of locations, including beaches, volcanoes, the sky, deserts, and my personal favorite, piano. They all look really good. I expected this ROM hack to reuse a lot of assets from Mario 64 for its levels, and to some extent it does, but these truly feel like brand new stages rather than asset flips. The soundtrack is also really enjoyable. It's not original, all of the tracks are taken from other Mario games, such as the original Super Mario Bros., Super Mario RPG, Kirby's Adventure, Sonic Adventure, and so on and so forth. Although they've all been remixed into that sweet N64 sound font and sound really good. I'd recommend giving it a listen if you're a fan of N64 music. Moving into my criticisms, some of the stages I found to be a bit too frustrating because they fall into this issue I had with the base game, which is that there will be entire levels that take place over bottomless pits that are pretty easy to fall into, mostly due to how Mario feels to control. Not that he controls poorly or anything, he still controls great, but it's not nearly as tight as later 3D Mario games. I also didn't like the parts of the game where you had to swim, but I also didn't in the base game, so it's not really the fault of this hack. Come to think of it, swimming in every 3D Mario game before 3D Land kinda sucked. Glad they went back to how it works in the 2D games. The enemy placement can also be very annoying at times. Specifically with the flying Shy Guy and these bees. They were a constant nuisance for me during my playthrough, and I feel like they were intentionally placed in the worst possible places at the worst possible times. There would be plenty of moments where I'd be doing some tricky platforming, sometimes even over bottomless pits, and they'd come out to attack me at my most vulnerable. I hate them. I also feel like the game could be a little too cryptic and leave you in the dark as to what you're supposed to do. One example being the beginning of the game. You're immediately thrown into the hub world and Yoshi gives you no hints as to what you're supposed to do. So I walked towards the castle, saw that all the doors required either a key or a star to get in. I then tried jumping into this painting that I later found out was an entrance to a level, but it didn't work this time for some reason. I then ran around in a circle before eventually finding this green pipe and finally beginning the game. You know what? Skill issue. You can make a case that I was just being stupid. But another example that doesn't get that pass is getting the vanish cap. The levels that you unlock the metal cap and wing cap in work the exact same way as the original game. It has a switch that unlocks it in the main game, and has 8 red coins scattered across that you need to collect in order to get a power star. However, the stage where you unlock the Vanish Cap works differently. The switch is still there, but in order to get the Power Star, you need to find the 8 hidden secrets of the stage, which are basically just invisible red coins that you don't have any idea where to find. There's a bit of a pattern as to where you can find them, but I was still completely lost and had to look up a guide to figure out where all of them were, which is usually a sign that you didn't do a good job explaining how this works. With nothing else to talk about, I guess it's about time we move on to the end game here. After collecting 80 stars, the player unlocks the final stage, Bowser's Rainbow Rumble. It's a great way to end the game. The level looks really nice, the music is climatic and suspenseful, and the difficulty is just right so that it feels like the ultimate test of your skill without falling into some BS. And then the final boss ruins it! The final boss is a boss fight against Bowser. I always found the Bowser fights to suck in Mario 64. In order to defeat him, you have to grab him by the tail, then keep rotating the analog stick to spin him around, before letting go and launching him into some bombs, which is far easier said than done since he's spinning so rapidly. It's very hard to aim towards the bombs, so you'll have to try your hardest to get him close to the bomb, then throw him. But what's even more annoying is that Bowser's AI is based on the final boss of the original Mario 64, and in that fight, he can cause fire to fall from the sky and burn Mario as he's trying to throw him, which makes this fight so much more annoying. Thankfully, the devs were kind enough so that the ground doesn't slowly break apart the more you hurt Bowser, like in the original fight, which is nice. Following Bowser's defeat, we're sent back to the Mushroom Kingdom, now at nightfall, and are thanked by Peach for our heroism, ending Super Mario 64 Star Road. I really like this ROM hack. I wouldn't really say that it's a full-on sequel to the original. It doesn't introduce any brand new mechanics to the gameplay like a lot of other sequels do, but it feels more like if Mario 64 just kept on going, which I think is one of the nicest compliments you can give to a ROM hack as large in scale as this. It legitimately feels like content Nintendo cut from the original game. It's that good. And while it does share some of the problems of the original game, in a way, that makes it feel more authentic. All in all, Star Road is a top-tier ROM hack that I'd easily recommend to anyone who's a fan of the original game, even over a decade after its release. You know, come to think of it, Star Road has never received a cease and desist from Nintendo. Maybe I'll be fine after all. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to think they'll break down my door just because I downloaded a ROM file. They've done some scummy things, but they aren't that evil. They're that evil.